Hi, could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Janet Ewell. I'm at the High School Journalism Convention in Nashville. I'm a retired journalism educator and the author of a textbook called Journalism Publishing Across Media, which is in its third edition, I'm very happy to say. I'm an advocate for the student press.
How long have you been working in journalism field and especially concerning high school journalism?
Well, let's see. I think I started teaching high school journalism in about 1990, and I was sort of roped into it. It wasn't my original plan to teach high school journalism, but I'd done some writing before then. I found out that I really liked it, and that it was a place where students could go to their strength instead of just being sat in rows and made to write what the curriculum said they should write. I loved seeing how the students began to lead and how intellectually curious they were. And I should add that the schools I taught at were very high minority enrollment, high poverty schools, and yet those kids won the LA Times Prize for Best High School Journalism year after year, and that's for a 5-county area. And it was because of their passions.
Mm-hmm. What do you find are some, I guess slightly underreported, but important things that we could write about?
Is this mostly going toward other students?
Yes.
Oh, goodness. I don't know if I can say specific topics, but students know what students are concerned about, and you consume the same media they're concerned about. You also know what the students do on weekends, more or less, and that's something no adult knows, and you know what they are worried about. I would say if there was a generally underreported story, the story is how important religion is to most students, how it connects them closely to family, and whether or not they follow the family religion, it's a strong influence on them. And a lot of them participate in religious observances, and yet we act as if that isn't happening. And I think that's probably an underreported story, but almost anything that's happening to students is a little bit underreported. Adults have an idea of what you're like, and only you guys have a clue about what's really going on.
Could you tell me a bit about the workshops that you're doing at the convention these few days?
I'm tired. I did 5. The first one I did is called Covering Issues of Disability, and it talked about the techniques and the reasons and why we need to cover and include in our coverage and have on our staff and make our media accessible to students with all varieties of disability. One of the reasons I feel so passionately about it is that if we do not help make people visible, if we do not acknowledge their existence, they are much more vulnerable to the bullies and the less desirable parts of us. When someone's invisible, they can disappear. They can have their civil rights violated. They can be bullied. They can be harassed and molested. When they're visible, they have a little more safety. And one of the things we do as journalists is establish a community. So that's Covering Issues of Disability. I did one on staff handbooks and style manuals, which gets a little wonky, so I won't go too far in it, but every publication needs one of those. I did one on publishing beyond your campus, which I did with 4 other people, 2 hours worth. And my concern is that you be able to publish beyond your campus, so that if somebody at your school tells you, oh no, you can't possibly write about that, that might make the school look bad, they should know that you are publishing on TikTok or in the local media, or that you have your own YouTube channel, and that you have options for publishing beyond the school, and that actually protects you. But the local media needs you also because they're short on reporters, and you can become very civically involved by following local stories. Let's see, so that's 3 stories. I just did one on publishing photographs from off your campus. And what was the other one I did? Oh, it came from one called Covering the Hard Stuff, where we talk to the students about the stories that they've been covering. And I am always amazed at what good journalism the students are doing under some very stressful situations where the adults don't want to trust them. So those are my 5 presentations.
Mm-hmm. When a student is covering like these hard stories, what are some ways that they could like find strength, find help, and assert themselves?
What a wonderful question. I did that presentation with Jonathan Gaston Falk, a lawyer for the Student Press Law Center. If you don't know the Student Press Law Center, it's splc.org. It's free. They will help you in any of your First Amendment questions, and it's not limited to just journalism. If you're getting shut down on your literary magazine or something like that, they will help talk you through the laws in your state. I couldn't have survived as an advisor without the Student Press Law Center, both their resources to explain copyright and things like that, and their backup when I got into or my students got into a controversy that that was causing them to get shut down. Student Press Law Center kept us going. So that's somebody, and they're willing to talk to anyone whose First Amendment rights, students whose First Amendment rights are being taken away, most often without good justification. Okay.
Are you willing to tell me about like past experiences, like a story of like a time when that feels like very memorable, like when someone did like really good journalism, or like when your students were able to like go through a stressful time?
Think a minute on that one. Let me be a little more general than I think you're actually looking for. When I talk to students at the convention and they talk to me about stories that they are writing that are documenting, for instance, teachers being just let go after reports of sexual harassment, and the teachers show up as teachers at a school, 45 minutes away. I am amazed at the tenacity and the courage the students have to follow a difficult story. I suspect there's a national story about how often that happens. It's not in the school district's interest to actually fire the teacher, because then there's threat of wrongful termination. Can we prove that you were molesting students? So they accept a resignation, and the teacher goes away with no mark on his records. And I know enough of these cases to know there's a problem, and I know that student journalists are covering it and uncovering it and trying to protect each other students, trying to make sure that sort of thing doesn't keep going. I love their passion. I love their ability to do good journalism. I love them being on the crest of a story that I think probably deserves a lot of national coverage and maybe some changes in laws.
Mm-hmm. Last question.
Good.
Like when you find yourself in a difficult time, where do you draw the most strength from?
I descend from a lot of tough people. I imagine you do too. Most of us who are alive are the children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren of people who have experienced hard times and tough times. And I think that's a source. I also believe in what I'm doing. I believe it's based in my religious and my civic values. And sometimes I'm just plain stubborn. that enough?
Yes. Oh my
Okay.
God. I love that answer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's been a pleasure.